2 o'clock on the dot, and we have 38 participants, and we already have one question, Danielle, so I'm going to go ahead and get that one out of the gate for you. Is this the same course as AMCA's PTA?
It actually is. Well, see, AMCA has a clear firewall between training and certification. It's an NCCA rule. So our exam aligns to ProTrain's physical therapy tech. So it's the same but different. So our exam, they will take ProTrain's online course, and it makes them eligible to take our exam. But we do no training.
We do training, she does exams. I don't want to do exams. That's a clear separation of duties, and that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, I want to thank the 42 people that have joined. This session will be recorded. So John, is this already being recorded, or do you need to press the magic button now? Or Stephanie, are you pressing it?
You're good. You're
already pressed.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm here in a supporting cast role. Everything that we do, whether we're an organization in customer support, helping people with physical therapy, or whatever it is that we're doing, we are the support system for the customers and clients that we have. Whether you're a school partner offering this in your service area, whether you're actually a medical organization and you're looking to hire physical therapy technicians, we're trying to help people that need to be helped, because I can tell you my back hurts all the time. I probably need to go see a physical therapist, because we're all getting older and we're living longer. And I can tell you a little bit about the history of this, but first I just want to explain who I am. My name is Betty Gardner. I'm the CEO of ProTrain. My whole life has been dedicated to education and helping people help themselves through education to employment, and working and partnering with wonderful partners, such as Danielle and her organization, because one company, one school cannot do everything by themselves unless you have, a staff of 30 or more. So we all partner and realize what our skill sets are to make a perfect program and the success of the student, so they can have their education to employment goal realized. And I can tell you the history of this class is for well over a year. We're very picky. We were looking for a subject matter expert and would not accept just anybody. And we had to find the content, and we did. It was well over a year. And our subject matter expert worked with our instructional system designer, and we created the online self-paced program. Very proud of it. And we created that independently from Danielle at AMCA, and then we had them go under the hood, if you will, and make sure it met the criteria for national certification. And she, gave us some pointers, and it did. Now the next step, since COVID, is a lot of people are not going in classroom anymore. And if you look at the news, things went down, things are spiking. I mean, I don't want to go to in classroom, but I mean, some people do, and they have arrangements for that. So we started doing live online instructor-led synchronous programs a little over 3 years ago. And we had a lot of partners that were, gung-ho about it. We had some partners, I don't know, this is going to take away from my in-classroom. And now people have been coming out of the woodwork and saying, do you have that live online instructor-led synchronous training for this class? Well, yes, we do, because we found Mr. Neville there. And Mr. Neville is going to be the live online instructor-led synchronous instructor. But the bonus is the student also gets the online program as well. So we combine the best of both worlds. You get an instructor at a set time of day or night or weekend, and you get to be able to study the online content in between, and Neville will be quizzing you. So I just wanted to let you know, I was very proud to be a part of this project in offering something that is really high in demand, and I'm not going to steal anyone else's thunder. I am going to introduce to you our moderator, my Chief Operating Officer, Kevin Smith. Kevin?
Okay, let me adjust for my
much fatter head than Betty's. Good afternoon, all. As Betty said, my name is Kevin Smith, and I've been the Chief Operating Officer for ProTrain now for just about 10 years. And we are very excited today to talk to you about job-ready skills and certifications, particularly for this live online physical therapy technician program. Just a couple of house rules just to make sure everybody's aware. All the participants except the panelists and the host have been muted. We encourage you to find that little Q&A box or the chat box if you have questions that you want answered. Betty will monitor those throughout the presentation. We'll try to probably do those at the end just to keep things flowing, okay? But we'll make sure that we answer all those questions. If for some reason we don't know the answer to the question, my promise to you is that we will not BS you. We will get you a vetted answer, and that will come out in the fashion of an email that goes out to all those that registered for this today, whether you're on here or not. We had 83 people register. I think we're over 40 people actually in the session right now as we're speaking. We understand that people have busy schedules, okay? So you're gonna get a recording of this session. You're also gonna get a PDF file version of the PowerPoints that we're going to present to you this afternoon. And if there are any questions that we needed to get a vetted answer, it'll all come out with that to send to you all. So whether you are here in spirit or you're here physically with us today, we're glad you're with us, and we hope you enjoyed today's presentation. A little bit about the agenda, what we're going to review today. We're going to do some general introductions. We're going to make sure that everybody on the presentation today has a fantastic idea who this great instructor Neville Crick is, okay? He is world class, by the way. We're going to talk about the benefits of this live online learning and a lot of the best practices that we've learned in being able to present material like this in a live online instructor-led format. Neville, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Kevin.
Okay. If you think I'm muted, you might need to check your settings. I just want to make sure that everybody's hearing me. Normally hearing me is not a problem. Most people think I'm a retired drill sergeant. We're going to talk about the live online programs and how those are conducted, okay? So you get a feel for what it's like and how it might be different from face-to-face in classroom. We'll talk about the student requirements, so you're able to talk about your potential students and clients about what it takes to become enrolled in this program. Then we're going to talk about the schedule and some basic Bureau of Labor statistic quick facts that will make you want to offer this program and probably want to get it added to your education trainer providers list to get workforce investment funds approved to train for this great skill. And you're going to see why when we get to the numbers, because the growth in this industry is just phenomenal. Normally 5 to 7% is standard growth. This has a 30% growth over the next 5 years. That's why Danielle came to Betty and said, guys, I need your help. This industry is growing faster than we know what to do with, but I need somebody that can train to meet the standards of our credentialing exam. And here we are today with you all. Just another quick sound check. Can everybody hear me? Danielle, can you hear me? Okay. All right. So how do you enroll in the program? We'll go over that. Very easy. Okay. And then Danielle's going to go over some basic information from the American Medical Career Association and what to expect in terms of this credentialing exam that we're all excited to get your students prepared to take and pass on the first time. And as I said at the end, we'll go over, have a Q&A session. We have two great presenters today, okay? The first one you're gonna hear from is our instructor, Neville Crick, okay? Neville's got a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate in physical therapy, okay? He's also got an MPA, and he's currently the director of physical therapy at New York City Health and Hospitals in Bellevue. Neville has over 18 years of clinical experience in medical, surgical, and acute inpatient rehabilitation settings, as well as over 12 years of managerial experience in the rehab medicine field. Students today don't just want to know what it is you're teaching them, they want to know the why. And so to have an instructor with Neville's experience and background explain why certain things are important, because he's got that firsthand experience, you can relate that to your students, is invaluable. Trust me, it really resonates with the younger students today who want to know not just the what, but the why they're learning this new career. We're also pleased to have with us Danielle Sadighi. She is the co-owner and vice president of marketing and sales with AMCA and has over 25 years experience in the allied health industry. She has a vast array of experience in the post-secondary arena, acting as a school director, a marketing agent, and director of marketing for a certification agency, and is presently an advisory board member for 4 allied health schools and the Louisiana Association of Private Colleges and School Systems. We're very pleased to have them both with us today. I want to give you a little background about this great gentleman, proud American, Neville Crick, okay? Neville comes to us with a bachelor's and master's degree and a doctorate of physical therapy. It's important that you have the credentials in the area that you're going to teach. I can tell you all that Neville has taken and passed with flying colors the same credential exam he is prepared to teach your students to pass on their first take. He has a master's in public administration. And as I said before, he has over 18 years of clinical experience in a wide variety of practice settings and 12 years of the managerial side experience of running rehabilitation facilities. Overall, he's taught for over 15 years. Double bonus in all of that, and we couldn't be happier to have him teaching for us. He is a published in many peer-reviewed journals, okay, and presently has had national forums where he has presented topics himself. He is an active member in the American Physical Therapy Association. The next thing I'd like to talk about briefly is what are the benefits to this new normal learning environment that we call live online instructor-led. First of all, the students get to attend their live online course offering from anywhere, any time zone. The learning is done completely online. They can attend the class from anywhere that has a reliable internet connection. What do I mean by reliable? 10 megabyte upload, 5 megabyte download. You don't need business class internet to be able to have that today. Most everybody has that and far above that connectivity. Another great advantage is that there's no travel time to and from campus. There's no parking lot fees for student parking. There's no gas money. There's no babysitter money, okay? All saves time and money and resources that your students need that help them accommodate their busy lifestyles. And moreover, keeps them in a very secure, protected environment that's COVID-free. We all know how COVID-19 has changed the dynamics of the classroom today, and live online learning is our way of meeting that challenge straight on with a great opportunity for your students. We believe that personalized instructor training in a cohort is more and more like that one-on-one atmosphere that you'd actually have in a classroom, where students can still ask questions, hear others ask questions, not be afraid to ask questions, and feel a part of a cohort. The completion rates that we see for live online students is in the mid 90 percentiles across the board versus online self-paced asynchronous course, which is someplace between 55 and 65%, depending on the topic. So it's a great environment. Like this session today, every one of our class sessions is recorded. We do it through Zoom, and it can be viewed at any time. So if your students or clients miss a session today, maybe they're sick or there's some crisis in their family, okay, and that happens to everybody, they don't feel like they're going to be left behind, because all they have to do is go back and review tonight's recorded session with Neville's instruction and be ready for the next time that class meets. okay? So they're never going to feel like they fall behind. And it's very helpful as well for helping your students do review sessions as a refresher before they get ready to take Danielle's AMCA exam. How are our programs conducted? Well, we will work with school partners. You'll either talk to your leads or you'll allow our training assessment managers to talk to your leads. We get them enrolled. We can enroll them everything from self-pay to potential payment plans. If we want, we can even use student loans for them through Climb Credit, who was our loan partner, okay? Once enrolled, 2 business days out before that class kicks off, our registrar issues your student a welcome letter with the logon and password that they need to get on and instructions to be able to get into Neville's class. The class schedule is published well in advance. The class schedule is already in the template in the LMS, so that when Neville opens up that first night and he's going through all the admin remarks, everybody knows where the class schedule is at. Every time it meets, if there's a break for the Christmas holiday, it shows them when the break is. If there is a makeup day, there's a makeup day already in the overall schedule, so people know what happens, okay? As I said before, it's taught on the Zoom platform, but if the Zoom platform and the internet go out, we also give Neville his own freeconferencecall.com conference line that everybody can immediately jump on that line and conference in and still go over the material with Neville until the internet system comes back up. That has only happened, I think, on maybe one occasion in the last 3 years, but we do that to always have something at the ready should Life and Murphy come visit the campsite. Students are given assignments. They have quizzes. Those are graded. They have a midterm and they have a final. All of that material, coupled with the online resources, all are targeted to address all the terminal learning objectives that we get from AMCA when we look at their exam blueprint. I used to do the same thing when I did all the instruction for all the logistics MOSs in the Army. You have a critical task selection board. Basically, Danielle's already done that with the industry to figure out what are the tasks that employers want your students to have to be considered job ready when they walk on day one. All that is factored into her exam blueprint and the questions that they ask. Danielle does not give us the questions, but she lets us know where the topic areas are from the exam blueprint that shows us these are the types of materials that you've got. And as Betty said before, Danielle's compliance people have been through our exam prep material and gave us the 2 big thumbs up that it is ready to train people to do well on her national exam the first time they take it. A little bit about the student requirements. We expect students to be 18 years of age, have a high school diploma or GED. They need a personal or work email address so that the registrar can communicate with them and send them information, as well as our instructor if required. They have to have a laptop with speakers and a microphone, okay? As strange as it may sound, we had a grant partner that had students that got signed up for a live online class, and sure enough, one of their students didn't have a computer. So the night of the first class, we're getting this email that says, I'm emailing you from my cell phone. Shouldn't I be taking this from a computer? You gotta love it. It's true. It happened. And next thing you know, the grant was helping the student get a computer. So in terms of the computer operating system requirements, Microsoft Windows 7 or 10, the home or professional version works fine. If they've got a Macintosh and an OS X 10 or higher operating system, they'll be good to go. Internet connectivity requirements, cable or DSL internet connections are recommended for the best viewing and learning experience. And we've even put a little internet speed test on there. If you copy and paste and click on that, within seconds, you'll know what your computer's upload and download speed is. And as I said, 10 megabyte upload, 5 megabyte download shouldn't be a problem today. I have talked a whole bunch. probably more than you want to hear for a day. I'm going to turn this great presentation over to world-class renowned instructor, Mr. Neville Crick. Take it away, sir.
Hi, thank you, Kevin, and thank you everybody for allowing me to be here with you. First and foremost, I really am excited to be here to present this class to you, and I'm really looking forward to working with the partners to make sure that we can make this successful for the students. Just some specifics regarding the course. The course is presented in 30 hours live online and 90 hours self-paced online as well. So the students have essentially the luxury of doing some on their own, but they also will be with me for 30 hours live online, which is important and a bonus. The program prepares the student to take the AMCA Physical Therapy Technician Certification exam. And what's really nice about this is that the exam is included with the program. So that's, again, an added bonus. Topics that we're going to be covering for the course. It's a bit of everything. It's pretty comprehensive. And I'll talk about my background a little bit more, but really it's everything from anatomy and physiology, patient preparation. We're going to touch on some evaluation components, which are done by the physical therapist. We'll touch on some modalities or some treatment interventions, assistive devices, physical therapy exercises, and gait training as well. Just a little bit about me at this point. As Kevin described, I do have a little experience teaching in the online environment. I've taught at the hybrid model for at least 10 years now, and that's for anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, and some of the more relevant things that'll be covered in this course. As an aside, the physical therapy technician role is extremely important. Again, I've been a therapist for close to 20 years now, and I can't think of many days where I would not be able to make it if I did not have a competent physical therapy technician or physical therapy aide by my side. They are really the nuts and bolts that allow the therapist to do what they do. They are there for wheelchair follows. They are there to assist with the therapeutic exercises. So this role here is really, really important for the functioning of a well-run physical therapy practice in any setting, an outpatient, an inpatient, or rehab setting. Just some quick facts regarding this profession. Median pay, this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's about $47,000. And again, the entry-level education is a certificate. So, this is something, again, that's extremely essential. In terms of the job outlook and the number of jobs that exist, as Kevin mentioned, the number of jobs is it's over 140,000. So this is, to Danielle and Kevin and Betty, this is an extremely important role that's needed out there, especially in light of everything that's happening in the world now with COVID. What we're seeing on the clinical side is that there are lots of patients, unfortunately, we hear a lot about the patients who do pass away, but there's patients that do recover. And for those patients that do recover, they do require extensive rehabilitation, where many of them leave the hospital setting and they go to rehab hospitals or they go to outpatient facilities where the physical therapist, the physical therapist assistant, and the physical therapy aide or technician work hand in hand in getting these folks back to their pre-morbid quality of life. So with that being said, and I'm looking at the job outlook here, it's supposed to be about 30%, which is much faster than average. I think you can tack on a couple more percentage points with that in light of things that are happening today in today's world. So it's really an exciting time for us in the rehab world. And again, I'm really excited to be able to be a part of this process. And the quote that's here on the left, it says, physical therapy technicians help keep the clinic running like a well-oiled machine by cleaning equipment, preparing treatment areas, and assisting patients in moving from room to room. And that's a great quote because that's exactly what they do. They're really, really, really essential. And one thing that I like about this, having taught many students, undergraduate and graduate students in PT programs, is that a course like this really kind of whets the appetite for things to come. Many times you find that the physical therapy aides or the physical therapy technicians then go on to become a physical therapist assistant. And then from the physical therapist assistant, then they can go on to becoming the physical therapist. So it's often nice to see that transition from one point to the next point to the next point. So I'm really excited about joining the team and doing this. Just some specifics regarding this course. It starts December 1st, 2020, and it's going to go through January 14th, 2021. A little longer than typical because we have the holidays that are coming up. So we figured we let folks, spend some time, or at least, not worry about that during the Christmas and the New Year's, and get back to work after that. It's going to run on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we've tried to accommodate for all time zones. If you're in the eastern part of the U.S., 7 to 10. If you're central, that's 6 to 9. And if you're in the Pacific, you're about 4 to 7 p.m. So again, looking forward to it. And, I think we have a lot to do and a lot to achieve here.
I know that we're getting tons of questions pouring in. Keep them coming. While we're on this chart, I just want to talk a little bit about jobs. Somebody said, okay, well, are there jobs available? Yes. For example, while we're sitting here, Betty just Googled Indeed in Raleigh, 39 open jobs. Washington, D.C., 150 jobs. Out in Central California, 153 jobs. So if you just go on to Indeed and type in physical therapy technician or physical therapy aide and type in your area, it will tell you how many current job openings there are. As I said before, the job outlook through the Department of Labor, the BLS, shows 30% growth. Anything over 5% is considered significant. 30% is like cataclysmic growth. I mean, that is huge. I mean, so, and what happens, and Neville will tell you this, is that when you don't have enough physical therapy technicians, the physical therapist is seeing less patients because they're doing more technician work and not therapy for the sake of therapy. And so just like pharmacy technicians are critical to helping the registered pharmacist fill prescriptions at a Walgreens or a CVS, this technician is of vital importance to the success of any physical therapy operation.
Yeah, and Kevin is absolutely correct. I would also add a well-trained physical therapy technician is an asset to any practice. I mean, for where I am, I work at a facility that we have a 42-bed rehab unit. We don't have as many techs as we would like here. And what happens is that the physical therapist takes on those responsibilities. And for me being their manager, I look at that in regards to productivity. Something that the PT tech could do, the therapist is now doing. And as a result of that, it takes away from productivity. It's one less patient, or it's one less treatment session that the therapist has. So it has a profound effect. So again, there's definitely a need for it, and well-trained PT techs are an asset to any setting or any facility.
Right. I mean, that's not just a treatment effect. That's a revenue effect. If your clinics are seeing 3 to 5 less people a day times all the business days, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars of potential lost revenue because they're not seeing as many patients as they could. That is significant. Danielle, did you want to comment there, please?
I did, because to support Neville and everything that you're saying, when we first started our research 3 to 5 years ago and trying to find the next biggest industry out there to provide to our test sites, physical therapy tech just kept coming up, because Neville, you can explain to them that years ago, they're taking people off the street to train them because they didn't have enough techs. And that's when the post-secondary industry needed to realize, wait, short-term program, we can make this a revenue stream, we can add it on, and instead of the rehab centers going to people on the street and then training with no experience, now they can go through these courses, learn the basic knowledge, and then get certified. It opens up the floodgates for, like Neville said, to pick quality people for interviews, because I was hearing it firsthand. So it is solid data. So I just wanted to support that.
Yeah, and Danielle, you're absolutely right. In fact, historically here, and I know that someone asked, is there a lot of their openings within H&H or health and hospitals? Historically, we've always lacked, and that's for another reason. I'm in a public funded institution where positions are very difficult to come by. But the fact is, historically, you were absolutely right, Danielle. These were positions where if you knew someone who needed a job out of high school, or if this was somebody who you knew needed something to, that wanted a decent paying job, didn't necessarily need to have the skill set. But now, as things become more litigious, there's more liability, certification is required for a lot of these positions because it just ensures that the person is competent and they know what they're doing. So, you know, if it's not where you are yet, I can guarantee you it's on its way when it comes to these positions. So it's better if, you know, we have clinicians or we have practitioners out there who have this certification, who they basically can say to whoever they're interviewing with, yes, I'm familiar with it, but I've been certified and I have the theoretical knowledge, but also the clinical backing to kind of support me for a program.
The other thing I would add is that, and you touched on this earlier, and it's really the essence of ProTrain's approach to what we offer. We're always about trying to find those entry-level job certification, high demand skills that are stackable. This will help a lot of colleges, okay? Maybe your college already offers a physical therapy assistant course, you know, on a 2-year degree. This is a great feeder system for that, because if they do this and they get hungry, they're going to realize that with a 2-year degree, that 47,000 now becomes more like about 60,000. And then all of a sudden they're going to start talking to the physical therapist and say, "Hey, doc, I bet I could make a lot more money if I got into school, couldn't I?" And the doc's going to say, "Yeah." The question is, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want, you know, classes in session every day? Do you want to keep being a student? But this is a great kickoff to start place. So Neville and Danielle, thank you so much for your comments here. How to enroll in the program and what happens as a result of, you know, we told you how you get them enrolled. They get a welcome letter. They get into Neville's course. Upon completion of the course, the students will receive a certificate of completion. That can either come from your school. It can be co-branded between your school and ProTrain. You decide, we'll work with you on that. And then whoever you want to send it, either we can send it or you can send it, you know, to the student. Once again, we'll work with you however you want to do that. The exam voucher code is included with this course and its overall price. So once the students take and pass the course with a passing grade, we then issue them the exam voucher code when they're ready to test, okay? And then students can contact our information about their exam and how to go take that. I'm gonna now hand over to this wonderful lady that you've heard from already today, but she's gonna get into some of the more specifics about their credentialing exam. So Danielle, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And that was really a lot of great information. Before I get started, I'd like to just circle back to a little bit more on the job opening questions. And once again, Neville, please add to this. Physical therapy technician has also opened a floodgate for what might be called a more sexier position, if I'm allowed to say that, where everyone wants to get into sports medicine. Well, sports medicine, like a therapist, is a career path. So is sports medicine. And now it's really broadened the market where people wanting to enter healthcare who never thought of being physical therapy techs, wait, sports medicine, I'm into sports, I'm into health, science. Now all of a sudden you've developed a clear career path that could go into the rehabs, into the sports medicine world, which we all know sports is not going away, even with COVID, or into a rehab center. So it's not just about a rehab. If you think about all the elements that are out there now that now involve. So we've seen a huge uptick in career technical schools. The high schools they don't have enough positions open to train the high school students who do not want to go to 2-year college, that want to get into the sports medicine technician, and there's not enough spots, where the private post-secondary industry and community colleges have a huge opportunity to partner with AMCA for the national certification, be brought a tremendous state-of-the-art online program from ProTrain and offer it to the masses, they really are, in your community. So first thing, go back to your community, find out the need. I think don't explore your the rehab centers, but do not rule out the sports medicine in your area. And 100%, like what Betty said at the beginning, it all has to do with us having the medium average lifelong, I guess we're living to the ripe age of 93. They get us in a hospital, get us out. So we don't have to keep talking about the need, but we've done our homework and there's been a need. Otherwise, AMCA wouldn't have developed a physical therapy tech certification program. So I would like everybody to know that we work with 940 schools, test sites around the country. All certifications are valid in all 50 states. So if your candidate is taking it online, that's valuable to know. Wherever they go, the certification is accepted. And we have had I think, Kevin, we have been working with ProTrain. It's been over 5 years. It's probably over half the life of AMCA. And we have brought these types of partnerships to many of our brick and mortar schools who are always looking for revenue streams. And I think everybody on the call today can completely agree that COVID, if it did anything, taught all of us to have the online programs ready to go, because we just don't know what's going to happen in the brick and mortar. And everyone's done a fantastic job switching over. We all learned the pain points of the technology, but in the meantime, let's all take advantage of that and fill the need in the industry by partnering together. So I am grateful to, AMCA is grateful to the relationship with ProTrain, and truly think we can bring a new options to the test sites. When it comes to the exam, you guys it's very exciting. The exam, like Kevin said earlier, we don't pull any punches. We have an exam blueprint that is created from a job task analysis, and the exam blueprint is public information that is given to Neville, given to the students, so they know the domains on the test and they'll know what the tasks, and we'll cover that in a little bit. But for just some basics, it's 100 questions, it's 2 hours. They can take it online or paper pencil, just so you know, but because if you're running a regular conventional test site, but you're running it online, you really want the student to have the flexibility of taking a computer-based test with live remote proctoring, which not only is the exam fee included, but so is the additional live remote proctor fee. So you guys, we took all the pain out of it. We've learned a lot of lessons, and by supplying the student a voucher, and the cost is $109, but it's built in. So
Danielle, let me ask you a quick question here. Describe for the audience, if I am going to take a live online proctored exam, explain what that looks like.
That is a great question. And once again, through COVID, things were a little different than normal circumstances, but we have been offering live remote proctoring for 3.5 years. So all the facilities that thought they could flip a switch and partner with a company like ProTrain, like ProctorU, who proctors the exams through the computer, it's not so easy. And bandwidth, like Kevin mentioned, is very important. Good news is, so what it looks like is the student, when they register, they pick live remote proctoring. All candidates are eligible to take our certification exams up to 1 year of completing the program. Personally, I say that as we're establishing relationships with test sites, I think you need to hone it in, rein them in a little bit, maybe give them a shorter 3 months, because otherwise they're all over the place. And then how are you keeping track? But know that everyone's in control. The main thing is you take ProTrain's physical therapy technician course, and that qualifies your online candidates to take our test. They register, and then we send all the communications. You do not have to worry about, oh, how do they register, all that crazy stuff. We've got everything documented. They get emails that tell them to test their equipment. They have videos on what to expect test day. They're going to have to pass a verification test. Live remote proctoring with ProctorU is actually more difficult in a security level than I believe in a classroom setting. I mean, we have proctors that proctor 1 to 20. The ratio with live remote proctoring right now with ProctorU is 1 to 3. Everything is recorded. If the candidate looks to the right or to the left one too many times and the flag is raised, that recording gets reviewed and the exam could get flagged. So we go into extreme levels. But we try to create the same experience they would have had in the classroom. So did that answer kind of give you, they need a microphone, they need a camera, and we give them the links to test their equipment.
If I just wanted to add there, I mean, I've actually taken the exam as well. And I have to say, you know, it was, I would say, equally as intimidating if somebody was there proctoring with you. And that was actually a good thing. I mean, it actually maintained integrity. And that's an added benefit too, because I'm sure as the students go through the curriculum, they're going to have questions. Oh God, what was it like? And I'm able to speak from that perspective as well, having gone through it, which I think is an added plus. So, and that's one of the things that I found with students is that, okay, we do a great job educating them, but when it comes time to actually doing the things outside of the actual educating, so the logistic things, they suffer because we don't necessarily provide them with the greatest detail and understand how it is. So I think, you know, by having this laid out, by having lived in their shoes as a student and taking the exam, that's just an added plus for them. And I hope to make sure that I can impart that to them.
And one thing that AMCA will do with any of the test sites is we work closely with ProTrain, and we will work closely with Neville to make sure that he's got the proper communication throughout the program with the exam blueprint, with the study material, so they're handing it out, and with communication saying, test your equipment. You cannot use a Chromebook. Very clearly. So if anybody has a takeaway from this fantastic webinar, is a lot of schools are giving their students Chromebooks in order for them to learn at home. A Chromebook is not usable because ProctorU needs to take over the computer and lock the browser down for security reasons, and a Chromebook doesn't support that. So, but all that will be communicated to your candidates throughout the program. So they can take the program on a Chromebook, but when it comes down to the national cert, they're going to need a laptop or a computer, Mac or anything. They need to have the latest version of Google Chrome. So that's one thing as a requirement. They do need latest version of Google Chrome. So, but the communication that AMCA will make sure that they put in place with Neville is vital, because we work with a lot of online schools, and that's what we do, supply the communication. So Neville will be our communication between your students. So there's no surprises, they're well prepared, and they'll have a very successful and positive experience. I'd like to touch on the next screen just to show the, these are the domains of the test. Now, once, like we said earlier, clear firewall, AMCA, and all my test sites know we are not allowed to do any training. But what happens is an exam blueprint is developed, and we share that, you know, from the blueprint, the exam is created and the study material is created. The two teams never talk. The only commonality is the exam blueprint, and that needs to be public. It's on our website. Your candidates will have it. They're specifically going to know that in anatomy and physiology, 12% of the exam and 12 questions, they're actually, in addition, going to get a blueprint that expands the job tasks within each domain. So Neville's job is to make sure he's covering all the job tasks, and the students can use our study material as a guide to help pass. They're only guides, but we also supply a link to Quizlet to enhance, I think there's 234 linked medical definitions on our Quizlet page, so they can study on the go, and they have access to online practice questions, all included at no cost. On top of that, which we didn't even cover, AMCA gives all of their test site free job placement assistance. So your candidates, once they're certified, will also get job leads on their phone specific to physical therapy tech. So the domains are important. And then I think we had one other slide to cover about the test.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's where I was just touching on the study material. AMCA is really proud to work with all of their test sites to be the only national certification agency that provides a vast array of study material, all at no cost. We know that your candidates do not need to be nickeled and dimed and do not at the end, so you need to pay for this or that. ProTrain and AMCA have worked out a package that there's one cost, they're done, and we're going to assure their success. The online practice tests are free and very exciting. Did anyone have questions in regards to that?
Any questions over there? There may be some embedded. We probably have about, we've got about just shy of 50 people online, and we're averaging about 2 questions per. So we'll cover those with Betty, and if we think of any, we'll also make sure we do that. The only other thing I want to make sure that we talk about, you know, this exam blueprint is really, really important. For those that understand instructional design background and just, you know, the process, understanding how you get a critical task board to identify the task, what those tasks mean in terms of terminal learning objectives, and then how do you teach and then assess comprehension against those terminal learning objectives. That's important. Trust me when I say we've already had discussions, not just with Danielle about the blueprint. We've asked questions like, okay, you see what the national average is, okay? For example, Danielle, what's the national pass rate right now against your exam?
That's an excellent question. It's right now at 78% for the physical therapy tech.
Okay, so, and for those people that don't pass, that 22% that don't pass the first time, okay, passing grade is what percentage?
The passing is a 70% out of
70%, okay. So for the 22% that didn't pass, you've already told us where they typically miss their most questions.
Yeah, no, that's a great
You've not
question.
told me what questions they are, but you've told me within the terminal learning objective areas that relate to the blueprint where to make sure when Neville's teaching your students, don't hesitate to put extra focus time there, since we are already sensitive to the fact that's where people are messing up. Just like when we teach to the medical assistant exam, we know EKG and phlebotomy theory related questions trip up the majority of people who don't get a passing grade. Why? Because they want a lot of clinical hands-on time, but they don't remember the exam is just 100% theory. So understanding where the pitfalls are as we help prepare your students to take and pass that exam the first time, that's paramount to us. As it is any competent instructor, that's your goal. First time goes on a test.
Yes, and it's very important that, and it's part of actually accreditation. It is our part of AMCA's program plan, and it's, I guess, it's an obligation really, but the student hits submit, and computers always amaze me, and within minutes they got an email to their email that they've registered with, and the domains on the test that were on the last slide, it will tell them you got 4 right out of 12 on anatomy and physiology. So that's as deep as it gets, but that's very valuable, like you said, so I know, wow, I really need to focus on anatomy and physiology, going back to the exam blueprint to view the tasks that covered those 12 questions. So as long as they're taught how to utilize the exam blueprint, Neville's going to do a great job including it, we really are on a path to success. And anyone who's unsuccessful, you're allowed to take it, wait 30 days. There is an exam retake fee. It is a 25% discount of the 109, so I think it's 81 something. They wait 30 days, they can reschedule. If they're unsuccessful again, they wait 60 days.
Right, and as from the instructor's perspective, I think that this relationship is really important because once I get that feedback from the exam, I can then sort of understand what domains I need to improve on, what I need to sort of beef up as the instructor. Again, not teaching to the exam, but teaching, you know, the areas of the content that, you know, emphasizing it more. So, you know, I think it's really important to have that relationship between Danielle and myself and, you know, everyone, just to make sure that we're really making sure that the students are successful and get that 78 to higher, like an 80, 85%.
Right.
Yeah, because you're not teaching to the test at all. You're trying, our goal is to make sure that the candidates master certain domains in order to be successful on the job, because they're going to need to know those. So the exam blueprint, like we discussed, is from a JTA, which says this is what the industry is looking for. So.
Right. And passing your exam is more than just the credentials that's on a piece of paper. It tells an employer you're job ready because of the tasks that you're prepared to do on day one when you walk in. Because like Neville said, just finding a warm body to, hey, you want to be a physical therapy tech for the day, that has a unwavering bad effect on a setting. Okay, well, first of all, we've had about just shy of 50 people actually attend so far today, and I want to thank those that have attended. You can't see, but Betty has been feverishly getting and answering questions as she can on the fly. But I know that there are some people that don't want to ask a question because they don't want to ask a question. They don't want to be embarrassed and think maybe it's a dumb question. First of all, there's no such thing as a dumb question in education. The only dumb question is the one that no one wanted to ask, and it went unanswered. So, Miss Betty, I'm going to turn this around to you and let you take us through Q&A time.
Well, thank you. Kevin was not lying. I've enjoyed speaking with all of you, and this recording will be sent to you as well as the Q&A in the chat. So therefore, if you had to leave early, because I had a person tell me they had to leave. So I'm going to go quick out of respect of everybody's time. So Kevin was on his computer and I'm on mine. And so if you see me turning my head, it's because I'm reading. So let's see if I can get this to where I can still talk here. I'm going to go really quick because you guys have hung in there. I'm going to go over, you guys asked some things such as, is this the same as AMCA's PTA? Danielle answered. One person got muted. And I said, don't worry about it. You'll get it. Technology happens. Let's see here. Can student pay for classes with third-party vendors such as career centers? And I thought that was a really great question. And I had answered about WIOA, and if you were on the ETPL, eligible training provider list, and the person wanted to know, explain WIOA. So I did. And if you also wonder what WIOA is, very simply put, it's for unemployed and underemployed individuals that can go to the one-stop, the career centers. And if they're eligible, they provide certain services for these people, such as, they pay for daycare, they pay for clothing if that's required, boots, etc. What we mainly are experienced with is someone who needs to be up-trained. Your job was RIFT. You lost your job due to COVID. You've got this experience, but it would help you get an upskill and a certification. The WIOA office is wonderful. Anybody that wants to know anything about WIOA, call me. You got my email here on the screen. Believe me, I am an email junkie, so don't be embarrassed to call and ask me, hey, tell me some more about that. Oh, there's tons of grants. I mean, if it wasn't for the grant money, I don't know what we would have done this year, because I don't know about you all, but I got worried come March, April and May, and our best month this year has been October, and it's due to all these grants and people, unemployed. You got over 40 million people unemployed. Somebody's got to help them get retooled. Why not us? Why not with physical therapy technician? Somebody also asked about what is the partnership between the university and ProTrain looks like. What's the responsibility for, us versus ProTrain? I would love for anybody that wants to know about perhaps partnering with ProTrain, contact me or Kevin directly. You're going to have our emails here. Go to our website. It's really simple. We have probably 200 universities, community colleges, for-profits, nonprofits, etc. And you'd be amazed at the things that we can do. My background was I was a director at North Carolina State University in continuing ed, and I loved it so much I quit my job out of faith. And here we are today, 16 years later. So it's really easy to work with us. Let's see here. That was on that screen. Let's see here on this screen. I'm just trying to be respectful of everybody's time. What is the difference between this program and a physical therapy assistant? So, I was here typing and everything, so you all may have said that, but Danielle, can you answer PTT and PTA, and is it just an interchangeable name?
Well, physical therapy assistant is a 2-year degree, which Neville can add on to.
Okay.
It's not a short term. And originally, you are correct. People might be thinking of that as we did call ours a physical therapy aid because the aid assists. But the word aid and technician is interchangeable. And we did speak with the Physical Therapy Assistant National Organization, and they actually agreed with us and helped us recommend saying, call it a tech, because the acronym PTAC is a little confusing. So Tech and aid are interchangeable. It's a short-term program that'll lead to an assistant. Assistant is a community college course or college degree, a minimum 2 years.
That's right. And just to add to that, the PT assistant and the PT physical therapist are licensed titles. The PT aid or the technician is a certificate title.
Awesome.
And the technician or the aid, they follow the direction of the assistant or the therapist. So I know it's a little technical, but as ultimately this course is essentially the individual assists the PT assistant, licensed 2-year degree, community college, or the physical therapist, 4-year degree, doctorate level degree.
So what I hear you saying, Neville, this is part of a stackable skill set.
Absolutely, and that was my point. And again, one thing while we're talking about that is that oftentimes, when I teach undergraduate A&P, I get a ton of students who really want to say, I want to do physical therapy. They don't have a clue of what it really is. So a certificate program such as this really kind of helps them get an understanding of what it is, and they can stepwise then maybe go to an assistant, and then from there to the full-blown physical therapist. So this is sort of the first step in, again, as Danielle was saying, high school or, first years of college, trying to build their profession and career.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I realize it's 2:56. We still got 35 people hanging in there. We had 47 to start, so everybody must be interested. So if we do go a bit over, and if you need to leave, we will send this to you out of respect of your time. Do you know which jobs will accept the PTT AMCA certifications? And also, will you assist in job placement?
Great. So AMCA assists all of their test sites with job placement assistance.
Okay.
Like a strong partnership with ProTrain, we have a very strong partnership with ehire.com, which is a huge funnel for our job leads. But as soon as your candidates are certified by AMCA, they start getting job leads on their phone within a 25-mile radius specific to certification. But more importantly, the test sites have access to reporting, and you'll have access to, the candidates will have access to resume templates. The certification is recognized in all 50 states because it is a new and ongoing career that's changing. We turn to organizations like Neville Works to say, the certification is accepted. Do I have specifics? We do have reports that I could run and tell you all the organizations that have verified certification, if that is something that you need, but technically it's accepted in all 50 states.
Okay, and I know we talked about, data analytics, and we can, if somebody wants to have an offline topic about that, we can go into depth with you on that individually. I did answer the question about the cost of the program. I actually pasted it in the link for everybody to see. So we've answered everything that was in the Q&A. Now I'm going to run real quick here. I can talk real quick. Even though I'm from North Carolina, sometimes people say, are you from New York? Let's see here. We talked about that. We talked about how long the program was. I sent the link to our online class as well as our live online class. Success rate for the program. For ProTrain, as I said, we've been working over a year to build the program to be top-notch quality with Danielle. So we're out of the gate now, and that's why we're having this webinar. Yeah, so far with our live online, which that's just been recent, we had 10 individuals take it and all of them passed the exam. So
it's also just been approved by the Army.
I don't know if they can hear you or not.
The other thing I would just throw in here real quick is that Danielle worked very tirelessly with the Army Credentialing Office, and the Army Credentialing Assistance Program now officially recognizes this exam as a viable credential that has high job potential on the outside. We're one of the Army's leading vendors for credentialing assistance programs in the Army, and a lot of the medical soldiers who are trying to figure out what do they want to do when they get out, maybe they don't want to do exactly what they were doing, but they'd like to stay connected with it. They can take this credential and the Army will pay for it to include the exam.
Right, Kevin, I'm glad you mentioned that because we do work with various schools in Army programs, and it reminded me we also are adding this live online program to the military spouse program. If anybody is familiar with that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not, again, contact us because it's a wonderful program. We had another a community college that wanted to know, are students required to complete clinical practice skills in addition to the 120-hour curriculum? We do not require an internship or an externship. So Danielle, what is your feelings on that? If someone's able to take the program successfully and pass the exam?
Yeah, so I go back to the state guidelines, and there are no state guidelines right now for physical therapy tech. And Neville can always back me up on that. For the tech, because it's a new growing industry, there is no state saying you need this many number of hours for the course and you need this many hours for clinical. So we ask each test site to follow their state guidelines.
Yeah.
Our course does not require any. We're based on theory. All of our national certifications are based on theory and do not have a practical portion.
I will say though that yes, I agree, and that's absolutely right. And in addition, because it's not a licensed profession, there is no requirement for them to be, there's no clinical practice requirement. I will say though that how I teach the curriculum, it is clinically based. So for example, if there's a question that's relevant to, let's say Mr. Jones is in the clinic, he asks you this question, what are your thoughts on it? Those are things that are going to stimulate clinical discussion. So although it is a theory-based course in some regard, it is very much clinically relevant. So by the time that the students or the candidates get into the clinic, they should feel somewhat comfortable being in that clinical environment based on the scenarios that we discussed.
I appreciate both your input. I know we talked about the Health and Hospital Corporation, any training programs in the state of Georgia. I don't know if that is from a potential student or if that's from a school, but ProTrain can add or can provide self-paced online learning or live online instructor learning anywhere that someone would want to offer it or take it. We do have Georgia school partners. Jobs, okay, we talked about jobs and EQ data. We already talked about that. Someone, you all will see it when you get the rendering, talking about New York City high schools to provide college courses to students in 10th and 11th grade. There's so many people out there that can't afford, don't want to go get, an associate at, such a young age, or can't afford to get a 4-year degree. This is an excellent way for a person to feel good about themselves, even taking while they're in high school so they can dip their toe. Do they want to be in the medical field? Because it gives them confidence, gets a job. It's a scary world out there. And if I was a high school student and I just heard that 40 million people were laid off, I would be like, what's my future going to be like? So anybody that works with high school students, we'd love to be a partner with you as well. We talked about WIOA. We talked about credentials. Look forward to reviewing. We talked about job placement. And this person asked about when we, partnering. Yes, we do. We provide marketing materials. We take care of registration. We give you a free website. We do a cost share. Remember, I used to be the director of continuing ed, specifically over a specific unit. So I consider ourselves a virtual continuing education department to be an extension arm of all of you all with the help that you need, because we can't be everything to everybody, but we've got a great team on board. And that is all she wrote, and it's only 3:03. So thank you very much for your time. And we still had 26 people that stayed on with us. So hopefully we were entertaining. If you get to know us better, we're really funny.
I want to just take time out to thank a host of people that made this possible. There's everybody that you see here today, the instructor, our great partner at AMCA, our director of marketing, Stephanie Mason. The guy behind the scenes nobody ever sees is John Hopkins. He is our management information systems director, and he's that guy that when your student says, for something it's not happening in my computer, I can't get logged into Neville's course. John Hopkins is the guy that makes all that happen. And he made all of this happen so that we could be on today with you. So once again, I just want to thank everybody, both personally and professionally, for your time today. I know you're all busy. I ask you to stay well and stay safe, and we look forward to getting this rendering out to you. And for those of you who want to partner with us and offer this great program that starts in December, we are at the ready to meet another challenge that COVID has brought us, with a great opportunity that Neville Crick is going to get your students prepared for a future career. So that said, have a great day. Thank you all. Stay well.